want to tell you about one of my very favorite live performance vocal microphones. It's a microphone that I often use for doing these videos, and I think it's underrated. I think that more people could make use out of this microphone. It's a tremendously good vocal microphone, and it's the Shure SM86. And I'm going to talk about the Shure SM86 and compare it to the Shure SM58 and see which one might fit you best, because both the SM58 and the SM86 are excellent live performance microphones, but they almost couldn't be more different from each other, and they both have a place. So let's talk about some of the differences between these two mics and what makes the SM86 such a great choice when it fits, and why the SM86 may not be such a great choice for you. If somebody was to ask me, what is a great vocal microphone? I would probably say, well, the Neumann U87 is a classic, great vocal microphone, and the SM58 is also a classic, great vocal microphone. You find the SM58 used on live stages, and the Neumann U87 typically used in the studio. Now, of course, you can use microphones wherever you want to, and there are some performers who will use a 58 in the studio. Not many, but it's been done. The singer from U2 has been known to track vocals with a Shure Beta 58. He could use any mic he wants. He's a superstar. Price is no object, but he just likes the sound of the Beta 58, so that's what he uses. But usually if you go to a studio, they're going to put something like this Neumann in front of you. But this wouldn't be a great choice on stage. So let's talk about some of the differences between these microphones. The Shure 58 is a industry standard classic live vocal microphone used on stages because it sounds good. It sounds balanced, and this mic has been a top-selling microphone for over 50 years. Now, to think of a technology product that can be a bestseller for 50 years, that's got to be an epic product. I know the SM58, it's somewhat fashionable to bash these days and go, oh, there's better mics out there. And sure, there probably is. But you can't deny the fact that a product that's been a top seller for over 50 years in a technology field, that's epic. The 58 is super rugged, so you can do a mic drop and it'll probably survive. If the mic stand falls over during a performance, you can pick it up, and pretty good chance the microphone's going to be fine and you can continue on with your show. 58 has good feedback rejection, so if you're on a live stage, a loud stage, it helps control feedback from your monitors and from other stuff on stage. That's important, of course. And finally, the SM58 is cost-effective. It's relatively inexpensive. It represents great value. You get an awful lot of microphone performance for a low-dollar price. Now, of course, there's some worthy competition to the Shure 58. For example, I'm a fan of the AKG D5, which I think does everything the SM58 does, and maybe a little better in most cases, for about the same price. Of course, there are other dynamic mics like the Audix OM5, which I think is a really great sounding, smooth mic, a little bit more expensive, but it's worthy competition as well. But this is a dynamic microphone. A dynamic microphone operates like a loudspeaker in reverse, where the loudspeaker has a cone with a coil of wire attached to it, which is in front of a magnet. And when we energize that coil of wire, it puts out a magnetic field and pushes and pulls against the other magnet and moves the cone back and forth to make sound. The microphone, a dynamic mic, is essentially the same device, miniaturized, tuned for microphone use, of course, where it's got a diaphragm, i.e. the cone, a coil of wire attached to it right in front of a magnet. And when that diaphragm is vibrated with sound, those vibrations on the coil of wire next to that magnet impart electricity into the wires, which then go down to our mixing board and we amplify it, and there's a microphone. So that is to say that you could take a speaker, a loudspeaker, attach the wires to it into your microphone preamp, and it would act like a microphone. It's not made for that. It's not going to be a very good sounding microphone, but you will hear it. It works as a microphone. And likewise, you could take the output of your power amplifier and drive audio into a dynamic microphone, and if you put your ear up to it, you could hear it. If you didn't turn up the volume very much, because the wires in here are super thin, so if you turn up the volume very much, it would blow out the microphone. And no warranty for you if you do that, so we're not going to do that. But this, on the other hand, this Neumann works on a different principle. It's a capacitor microphone or a condenser microphone, and instead of a coil of wire being shook by my voice against a magnet, it has a capacitive element, and that element vibrates with sound and has very minor changes in capacitance as that happens. And that's not going to put out electric current down the wire. We need a bit of electronics inside of the microphone to sense those changes and convert that into a varying voltage signal that we can then push down the wire. So that means that capacitor microphones require just a little bit of power in order to operate. But the upside is that the capacitive element, as opposed to a dynamic element, they tend to be very lightweight and very responsive to sound. And so that creates a microphone that has a lot of sensitivity. It can hear all kinds of delicate things, and it tends to have extended response. And so we find typically most of the studio microphones where we're going for really high sound quality tend to be capacitor style microphones like this. But there are downsides, of course, and one of the big downsides of a condenser or capacitor microphone is that those elements are a lot more delicate than the dynamic elements used in a microphone like the Shure SM58. And so this studio microphone has really great sound, but all of engineering is a matter of balancing compromises. And so in order to get that really great sound, we have to give up some things. And in this case, we give up feedback rejection. It's got a wider, smoother pattern, which helps give us really great sound, but it certainly doesn't help if we're trying to reject sounds off the side and rear and control feedback. It's a much more delicate microphone, so we're not going to do a mic drop with a capacitor type microphone. You might get to do that once or twice, maybe. This microphone is, of course, a lot more expensive than the dynamic microphone. And so everything is a matter of compromise. And this is a great microphone for a studio type environment, but it wouldn't work very well on stage, whereas this SM58 is perfect for stage use, but probably not the best choice in a studio environment. But what if your stage was a little bit more like a studio environment than a live stage? For example, if you're in a rock and roll band or a country band or a death metal band, it's pretty loud on stage. You need good feedback rejection. Things can be chaotic in the world of bands, and sometimes somebody might trip over a cable, knock your mic on the ground. Things get beat up as they go from one gig to the next. And so a microphone like the 58, perfect for that application. But what if you're in the situation where you're a singer in a church and you've got a very controlled environment and the stage volumes are not very loud? Or maybe you're a lounge singer singing jazz. Again, you don't have a whole bunch of amplification going on. Feedback is not really an issue for you in that case. Or let's say you're a fledgling YouTuber and you need a good vocal mic. a capacitor type microphone might be a good choice for you if you want to find a microphone that can reach for an even higher quality of sound than you find in dynamic microphones like the SM58. And so that's where the Shure SM86 comes in. This is a capacitor microphone, like the studio microphone right here, but it's designed for live stage use. So it's a ruggedized capacitor microphone, meaning it will take some bumps and bangs and still survive. I personally would not do a mic drop on the stage with this mic, but it should survive typical, reasonable live sound stage use. It is designed to be highly directional, like the SM58, so that it rejects feedback. But being a capacitor microphone and striving for really high sound quality tends to cause a bit of a compromise in its feedback rejection abilities. So I don't expect an SM86 to reject feedback as well as some of the dynamic microphones that we typically use. And it's more expensive. It's a little more expensive than the SM58, but it's also not terribly expensive. Now, of course, there's a wide range of microphones out on the market, and you can get handheld condenser microphones that are very, very good. For example, the Neumann U87 here has another microphone in the Neumann collection, which would be the Neumann 105, which is a handheld Neumann mic. Fantastic vocal mic. But that also comes in at around $700 to $800. And that's a little bit outside of the price range of a lot of musicians. And so the SM86 comes in at, well, just a little over $200. So yeah, it's more expensive than an SM58, but it's got great clarity, and it's a capacitor microphone. So it's one of my very favorites. So, well, I think I should plug it in and let you listen to it, huh? Let's do a little quick listening test comparison between the Shure SM58 and the SM86. So if you're looking for a terrific live performance vocal microphone, consider the SM86. Now, my suggestion when shopping for microphones is to go to some place that can offer you multiple microphones to try, and try to arrange to have them record your singing or your talking into each of those different microphone models for a minute or so, and then carefully take the time to listen to each of those recordings back on headphones and see which one you think makes your vocals sound their very best. Well, the SM86 is certainly a worthy contender. I know I certainly enjoy using it for making these videos. If you're interested in any of the mics I've mentioned, I'll put links down below where you can explore a little bit more. Thanks for tuning in, watching this episode. I hope you found it entertaining and informative. If you liked it, please take a moment and click the thumbs up button and let me know. If you think I added tremendous value, well, you can always throw your talker a tip by doing a super thanks underneath the video. That's always super appreciated. And I also very much appreciate all of you who have chosen to subscribe to this channel and help this channel grow. So thanks again, and I hope to catch you again soon on another upcoming video.